Module 6 is commercial and revenue quality.
Yeah, so commercial revenue quality, and I think this is good housekeeping. You look back at the days where you used to maybe get contracts signed, paper signed contracts by customers and things like that. If that was the case, have you got that record? We went through a digitization exercise in our business where got rid of all paper contracts, and it's sort of all records of signed contracts electronically, which is what you'll require for due diligence. They're not interested in paper copies. You will have to have a data room with customer contracts in there. We had 400 customers, and they wanted copies of all our contracts. Now, some you didn't have, smaller ones, but any top 20 customer that you didn't have a contract for is a risk.
Yeah.
So you need to go out and sort that out 12 months before. And from a buyer's perspective, maybe not from your client perspective, but you want that contract to be as long and as risk-free as possible to you as a provider. Now, your client might turn around and say, well, I don't want a 3-year contract. Don't erode margin to get them to sign it, but do incentivize them. I mean, it might be a 3-year contract with break clauses, for example, at 12 months. And so, 3-year contract, okay, people will look at that risk and measure that. But having copies of all your customer contracts is absolutely key, and making sure that it's that standardization of T's and C's and your T's and C's are correct and up to date is good practice. So I'd say, irrespective of whether you're selling your business or not, you should have that, and use e-sign documents that's secure and it's clear about what the customer obligations and the supplier obligations are in that. Customer concentration risk, again, does any single customer account for 15% of revenue? I mean, if you, for example, let's say it's £1 million business or even a £10 million business, if you've got a customer that's responsible for 15%, that's 1.5 million of revenue. If that customer goes, you're down to 8.5 million. If that customer contributes 50% gross margin, that's £750,000. You just knocked that off your business. You might need to go and get rid of 4 or 5 people as a result of that customer going. So that customer risk concentration is, companies will look at that and reduce if you are highly dependent, unless you've got a 5-10 year contract, but the risk of that customer leaving, customers will value that into the price that they're paying. Customer length, in other words, how long have you had customers for, and the churn rate. So what is your new customer adoption rate and what is your churn rate? So in other words, why are customers leaving you? I mean, if high turnover of customers, companies don't like that. They really don't like that. Why? Why are they moving elsewhere? If you've spent all this marketing effort getting to a new customer and they're leaving after a year, why is that? Yes, I can see you're gaining new customers, but you're also losing them at the back end. So again, having that information to hand and reasons why customer are leaving is key. If it's because they've been bought out by a larger company, that's okay, nothing to do with your service. They in-house things, fine, but you've got to have justifiable reasons for that and have that recorded and documented. New customer adoption, likewise, having your pipeline of customers there and showing that you're growing revenue and that actually you are bringing on new customers. Anyone that's not bringing on new customers, again, they're going, why? You're not growing. So what's the challenge with that? I think I mentioned in a previous module, marketing to align with industry standards. They will look at your marketing spend to make sure that, it aligns and you're investing to keep that pipeline growing and keep that development going into your business. Compliance with industry regulations, all those sort of things. It's all pretty standard. GDPR compliance, those sort of areas. Supplier contracts as well. So all equally on your customer side, looking at all your customer contracts, having clear documentation of all your supplier contracts, which actually a lot of you think it's, oh no, we haven't got any obligation or liability because we haven't got a contract. Well, that actually leaves you at risk with a lot of these things. So actually the more you can have favourable terms to you, but supplier contracts in place which are clear, the better. Try not to have any long-term tie-ins with suppliers because the synergy of supplier alignment then might be lost. So if you've got a 3-year or 5-year long-term supplier contract, then any buyer will see that as a risk, and see that as a devalue, because they can't make a decision to leave that supplier if they want to, and they maybe synergies aren't allowed for. Things like insurance policies, making sure you have the correct cover of insurance in place, especially with regard to sort of IT and cyber threats now, I think is absolutely key. Making sure you're covered in the right areas, that's all documented and it's clear. On the commercial side, banking loans, any lease agreements, bank guarantees, personal guarantees, all of those sort of things needs to be clearly documented. And try and remove, certainly personal guarantees, try and remove those as much as possible prior to a sale process, but have clear documentation on any outstanding financial or banking obligations or loan agreements and such like. And I think I mentioned before as well, property leases, having clear documentation of all property leases, signed agreements, clear on break clauses, clear on rental uplifts, clear on dilapidations, obligations, all those sort of, the commercial contracts that you would have in a business. It all needs to be documented. It all needs to be in your data room, pre-prepared data room, because you'll have to have all that information to hand over, and they will scrutinize all that.